I spoke to the camera for 60 minutes a day for 7 straight days. I did this in an effort to challenge myself to build my camera confidence and to get better at speaking on camera. The results of this challenge surprised me. I actually made more progress in the 7 days than I have for the entire year and a half that I've had this YouTube channel. And in this video, I want to share with you the exact prompts that I used, what my results were, and how you can take this challenge too. And if you want to follow along with this channel, I actually have a guide that you can download. It's down in the description box below, so check it out, download it, and you can do this challenge yourself. And I also want to mention that I was inspired to even do a challenge like this in the first place from this gentleman right here. His name is Thomas. He actually has a talk to camera challenge as well. I've taken it and it's excellent. I'll also put that down in the description box below. Let's jump into each one of the prompts and what I spoke about for each day for this challenge. So day number one's prompt is, what are you thinking about? And the purpose of this prompt is to just speak for 60 minutes straight. There's no agenda, there's no bullet points, there's no script. The only thing that you are to speak about is whatever comes to mind in that moment. Sometimes with a challenge like this, you just have to get started, and this is the perfect way to do so. Don't necessarily need to figure out all the things you need to do. You just need to get started because you can't steer a parked car. I found this to be very helpful because I just knew I needed to start this challenge. I had been thinking about it for a long time. I just knew I needed to get going with it. And this was one of the easiest prompts that I could have given myself in order to get started. My hypothesis was correct. At some point I would think, man, I feel like I'm further along. And I wasn't. That was like at the 26-minute mark. I also felt fatigued. There was a little bit where I felt a little fatigued right here, kind of a few minutes in. Just because I've been going. I've just been talking the entire time for a full hour, bro. Hour. And to speak on camera for 60 minutes with no script and just kind of speaking your thoughts, you may feel like you're rambling or that the words that you're speaking don't make any sense and there's absolutely no flow to your words. And that's okay. The main goal of this first day's challenge was to just get started. You can't steer a parked car, so you have to get those wheels going, and this prompt definitely allowed me to do that. Day number two's prompt was past to present. So detailing the story of your life from the very beginning all the way to the present day. And you can break this up into different decades. I'm 30 years old, and so I broke it up from 0 to 10, then my teen years, and also my 20s. Now, depending if you're younger or older, you might want to break it up into 5-year increments. But the purpose of this one was to focus on telling stories because everything about this prompt would be in the past. So not only are you telling different stories about maybe what happened when you were younger or different life events, what you were interested in, what school you went to, any trips, you're telling those small little stories, but then altogether you're telling one big story of how you got from the very beginning to the current day. I did day number one yesterday, kind of on a whim. I just wanted to get it started because I was thinking about doing this challenge for a while, several weeks, over a month of actually doing it. And I hadn't started yet because life has been somewhat busy. I've been really active, traveling a lot, family in town, all that stuff. But I'm glad I took the time to actually start and take action on this challenge because there was a lot that I learned even just within the first day. And at this point in the challenge, you may already start to see some results like I just mentioned. And it's the compression of effort into a small period of time that allows you to get results faster. So even in just doing this exercise one time, I was able to make progress. And with day two, I was able to continue to improve by working on different aspects of storytelling and, of course, just getting more face time with the camera. Day number three's prompt was to describe the perfect day. So if you were to have the absolute perfect day, how would you describe it? From the moment that you woke up all the way to the end of the day when you went to sleep. What things would you fill in that day? Where would you go? Who would you be with? What activities would you do? What different things would you not do? Every single piece of your day is part of this prompt. And what's special about this one is that it's talking about the future. Whereas day two's prompt was talking about everything in the past, this is the complete opposite. In your designing, you're describing something that hasn't quite happened yet. So you get to visualize and almost do a little bit of dreaming and describing in detail all the things that you would have as a part of your perfect day. This was actually a really cool exercise for me because I hadn't really taken the time to think about what would be my perfect day. And I found that there's some really simple things that I would include in my perfect day. And so I think you'll find value out of doing this exercise as well. I wanted to record this one outside, one, because it was a beautiful day, but then two, just to get a little bit of a different vibe, a different exercise. Also not talking into a microphone that's right here, so I'll have both of my arms. So we'll go from there. One thing I also did with this specific prompt was to stand up while recording the video. I actually went to the park and recorded this. And what I found with day three was that it was a little different standing up than sitting down for day one and day two. And I encourage you to break it up as well, not just sit for the entire 7 days worth of challenges, but to stand up. And as you'll see later on, I actually did some walking while doing this as well. I found day three while standing up at the park, speaking to the camera, to be a little bit more challenging, actually. I think it was just a different environment and just a different way of communicating that I'm not used to. And I also found that a couple times I was rambling a lot. I felt like I was rambling, almost trying to fill in the gaps. And I realized that this is normal. I mean, the exercise is to speak for 60 minutes. That's a long time. And sometimes speaking for 60 minutes feels like forever. There was multiple times, especially in these first 3 days, where I was looking at the timer on my camera and was thinking, wow, it's only been 12 minutes. And so if that happens to you, that's okay. Just know that this is part of the exercise. It's supposed to feel like that. And as I will get to later on in this video, one of the things that you start to build is that endurance to be able to speak to the camera for longer periods of time. Day number 4 is to speak about a topic that you're passionate about. This could be anything under the sun. It could be something related to work or something that is a hobby for you. Just literally spend 60 minutes talking about anything and everything about that particular topic. The point with this one is to work on how you're presenting yourself on camera. And because you're talking about something more passionate, there should be some intrinsic excitement, or you would at least have a few more things to say about this particular topic. With this video, one thing that went by really fast was the time. In previous videos in day 1 to 3, there were different times where I looked at the clock. I was like, wow, it's only been this long. And so I don't know if that's ironic, like I'm talking about something I'm passionate about and time just kind of flies by because I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, or if it's just I'm getting a little bit more used to it. I'm not sure. It could be a combination of the two. At this point in the challenge, I realized how much progress I was actually making. In just 4 days worth of doing it, I was already starting to make really significant progress, more than I thought I would have at the very beginning of even doing this challenge. So if you get to day number 4, I would almost expect you to feel similarly. And it was at this point in the challenge where I knew that I was onto something valuable and I wanted to continue getting through the rest of the challenge all the way through and past day number 7. Day number 5 is to debate your opinion. This is all about making an argument, sharing your opinion, bringing up different viewpoints, and sharing your perspective on any and every topic that you can think of. So I actually had a list of about maybe 6 to 8 different topics hot button topics that are very relevant right now. We're in an election season cycle at the time of recording this video. And so there's a lot of issues that people are talking about, and I actually find that debating or expressing your opinion helps because most of the time you've already thought about different things, or you at least have a certain feeling or perspective about it. And so this would be really helpful when it comes to practicing speaking on camera, because now all you have to do is share your thoughts. And so in the guide that you can download for this challenge, I'll have a list of these topics that you can debate and share your opinion about. Day number 6 is to teach something. This is a very practical prompt because on YouTube and in content creation in general, a lot of people end up creating content where they are teaching something. They're passing their knowledge down from themselves onto other people. And most people go to these platforms to be either entertained and or educated. And so by doing this prompt gives you some more practice in teaching something and educating your audience. And chances are whatever your subject matter expertise is, whatever you have knowledge in, that will come to you naturally. And so now all you have to do with this prompt is just speak it into the camera and try to organize it in a way so that it's easy to follow for someone who would potentially be viewing this video. And making it to day 6, you will definitely start to see the results of this challenge. You'll start to see the progression. You'll feel different. You'll feel like you have a little bit more confidence in front of the camera, and things will just be starting to click a lot more. And you might also feel like you want to continue doing this because of the improvement that you're making. And day number 7 is to speak and honor the people that you've learned from, that you care about, and who have inspired you. I love this prompt because it actually gave me a chance to reflect in the past and really appreciate the people who have poured into my life. And there's been some amazing people who have done that, amazing people that I've learned from. They've taught me things that have allowed me to be successful in certain areas of my life. And with this prompt alone, I was able to, even just kind of in my own time and space, honor them, at least with my thoughts and with my heart. What I suggest is writing down ahead of time a list of people that fall into one of those categories of people who you've learned from, that you care about, who have inspired you. Maybe jot down just a couple things that you've learned from them. And in the prompt, you can explain kind of the story behind how you met them or how you know them and what things that they poured into your life or what was impactful. How did they make an impact in your life? So as I kind of wrap up and sunset this challenge, I think that what I might do is do some more. I might continue it on. I said I was going to do it for 7 days. This is the 7th day. This is the 7th hour, not the 11th hour, the 7th hour. And it's been really fun, insightful as well, because I've learned a lot. I've gained some experience that I knew I was going to gain, but not specifically about certain things. I've definitely got more comfortable speaking to the camera. I obviously have more work to do, but my theory, my hypothesis was that if I spent a compressed amount of time speaking to the camera, then I would gain a lot more out of it than I would by doing this once every week or every 2 weeks. To keep doing this would just allow me to keep getting better. And just by doing this challenge, again, in 7 days, speaking to the camera for 60 minutes a day, there's 4 takeaways that I got and 4 ways that I really improved. The first is what I like to call camera endurance. So speaking for 60 minutes, for most people who aren't regularly creating content or doing, say, live streams or doing that on a normal basis, is a long time. And in the same way that maybe running a marathon to most people is running a long distance. You have to build up that endurance in order to do that. By speaking to the camera for 60 minutes a day for 7 days, I was able to build up this camera endurance. I believe the same thing would happen for you as well. Before, I was maybe used to speaking to the camera for maybe 10 minutes max. Now I feel like I can turn on the camera and speak for 30 minutes, 45 minutes with no problem, no break, and just continue to flow and share my thoughts. The second way that I felt as though I improved through this challenge was building up my level of authenticity. One of the main goals that I have as a content creator is to show up in my true authentic self, in my true voice, in a way that is authentically me. Sometimes I get into the space, and many other people do, is when they turn on the camera, they turn into this different person. They're performing, they're, for lack of a better word, acting. And I know there's a time and place for this, but for me personally, I wanted to show up in a way that was authentic, as if I was talking to a family member or a friend. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have energy when you're talking to the camera, but it's just, you still remain you. And by spending more time talking into the camera, I was able to relax more into myself. I was able to be more of who I know I am and present that on camera without going to this level where I'm over exaggerating or I'm just not me. So that was something that I really valued in this challenge. And I think the more time that I spend on camera, the better I'll get at that and the more authentic I'll actually show up. The third thing, which is really powerful, was the flow of words. I found that by spending all of this time speaking to the camera, I was able to get better at connecting my thoughts and going from one thought to the other. And just when I would think of something, I was able to speak it and have the words flow a lot better, a lot smoother. This is really impactful because when you're creating content, you might be recording for a while, but you might take that recording and then have to edit a lot of it. But if you're able to speak well and you get it right the first time and your words flow, then it's going to ease up some of the time when it comes to editing. And just being able to flow better with your words is going to help your message get across and people will be more engaged. And the fourth thing that I'll mention here is that I got more comfortable vlogging in public. Some of the videos that I created, I was out walking around where there was other people walking by. And one of the things that I noticed was that I actually didn't pay attention too much to what other people were doing. Whereas before, if I was, say, walking and talking with my camera and I saw someone coming, I would maybe stop speaking to the camera just to avoid like that awkward passing by and do you say hello or not. But what I did with some of these challenges was I kept the recording going. I was still speaking to the camera and I still also acknowledged, say, other people around me if, you know, they were looking, if we made eye contact. And that whole awkwardness kind of faded away and I felt way more comfortable just doing my thing with the camera, being zoned in, trying to provide value to you. And I found that since doing the challenge, I'm way more comfortable doing that. That is something that I know other people would find awkward. And I'm here to tell you that you can get over that awkwardness. It just takes a little bit more time to kind of get over it. And I know I'm still developing that. And so I'm actually going to challenge myself even more to vlog in public with even more people around. So as I mentioned, I have improved more in this 7 days of doing this challenge than I have during the entire time that I've had this YouTube channel. So I highly encourage you, if you want to improve your camera confidence and speaking on camera, to take this challenge. Hit the link down below. You can download the guide. It'll walk you through each one of these prompts, what to do and how to get some of these same results, because I know this can really help. Thanks so much for watching this video. Check out this video right here. It's going to help you even more when it comes to creating content.